Now in this next segment, what we're going to do is we're going to talk about starting your own publishing company. And there's really 3 reasons why you would do this. Number 1, you didn't get any offers, okay? So you have no choice, you gotta do it yourself, okay? Number 2, you did get offers, but maybe they weren't with the companies that you wanted, or maybe you wanna hold out for a bigger advance. And number 3, pretty much, you're greedy and you wanna hang on to 100% of that copyright, right, and keep all the money for yourself, and you feel confident that, maybe you don't need anybody, So in any case, we're talking about starting your own publishing company, okay? And here we go. We got a couple steps for you, and let's tackle it with step number 1. The first thing you're going to have to do is affiliate with a performing rights organization. And if you remember what a performing rights organization is they're organizations that protect the performing rights of authors and publishers like you and me. So actually what they do is they seek out licenses for television and radio, etc., and then they monitor to make sure that you get paid correctly. Now remember, you are both the writer and the publisher, so you're going to have to affiliate or become a member as both, the writer and the publisher. So let's talk first about becoming a member as a publisher, okay? Now, the first thing you're gonna have to do is you're gonna have to come up with names for your publishing company. So they're gonna request that you give them 3 different names. Now for me, I used Bobby Borg Music, I used Rob Borg Music, I used, Bobby M Music, and none of them cleared. None of them cleared. So I was like, I don't know what I'm going to call my publishing company. So it just happened to be that I just got back from the island of Malta, which is right off the coast of Sicily. And I was swimming in this amazing bay called Mistra, Mistra Bay. And I thought, music, Mistra, M, how about Mistra Music? Just throwing it out there. And they're like, yep, that clears, that will work. And I'm like going, I don't know if I really like that name, but it cleared, so I went with it. And now people always mess it up. They call me Mr. Music. I'm like, it's Mistra Music. In any case, it just comes to show the process that's involved. Now, you're also going to have to affiliate or become a member, as the writer. Now that you have that done, you're going to have to do what's called title registration. And what title registration essentially is indicating the songs that are going to be publishing what percentage shares that you own in those songs. So for example, if I write a song, I'm going to register as 100% the writer, and I'm also going to register 100% as the publisher. Now, if I have a co-writer with me, let's just say we split it 50-50, I'm going to register 50% as the writer and 50% as the publisher. And the other writer can register 50% as the writer and 50% with the publisher, and they can do that with BMI if they so choose to do it, right? But that's, the percentages have to match, is the point. Okay. Now, title registration dovetails nicely into this next point, number 2, which is what's called registering your copyright. And a lot of artists actually confuse these 2 things. They think title registration and copyright registration are the same things. In fact, I just got an email about this just today from one of my clients. I'm like, so this is very, very common. Title registration, again, is the process of registering your songs with the performing rights organizations to indicate the shares of the songs that you own. Registering with the Copyright Office is the process of making a public announcement that you own this song. And it actually gives you further rights, right? It gives you 3 main ones. It gives you the rebutable presumption of ownership, it gives you the rights to sue in a court of law, and it gives you the rights to what's called actual and statutory damages, okay? So there's a very, very big difference. The way you're gonna do this is by going to copyright.gov. I'd recommend you find ECO, electronic copyright, because it's cheaper if you do it digitally and quicker. You're going to download this great PDF, you're going to read it, and then you're going to register your works. If you have any questions, there's an 800 number that you can actually call, and we'll assist you and help you with this, okay? Now remember, if you write your own songs, you have to register your songs. And if you actually record your own songs, like many DIY artists do, you're now going to actually register your masters. Remember, those are 2 separate copyrights. Now, if you do own the writers, the song and the masters, you can register on just one form, on Form SR as well, okay? So, an important thing that you need to do. Now, moving on to number 3, you have to register your masters with SoundExchange. Okay, so again, assuming that you own your masters, you're going to register with SoundExchange. I like to think of SoundExchange as a performing rights organization for digital performances or for digital master performances,
absolutely.
right? So what this is you are entitled to a royalty for the digital performances of your master recordings on non-interactive websites like, let's just say, for example, Pandora. It's essentially web radio, okay? And, you know, this can be substantial. I mean, I wrote some songs 20 years ago and just got $900 wired into my account 20 years later. I mean, so, make sure to get this done, okay? And a lot of people still don't know about SoundExchange, interestingly enough. They're getting more aggressive and making sure that people understand what they do, but definitely SoundExchange, okay? Now, let's talk about other stuff like, filing a DBA, getting a tax ID number, et cetera.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So you may have heard the term, DBA. What is a DBA? Well, DBA stands for doing business as. And there's an official sort of process. You go to your local county clerk, typically within your state. There will be a form for sure that you will have to fill out that it might be like a fictitious business name statement or, again, a DBA sort of statement. You fill everything out. The typical process is you're paying a fee not only to secure that name, but to make sure that that name is available. They usually go through a process of publishing that name that, Bobby Borg is wanting to create a DBA in the name of Mistra Music. It gets published in this newspaper, and it provides the ability for someone to come in and say, well, oh no, he can't use that name, I've got that name, or what have you. But it typically, it is all fine. You go through that process after a period of time where it's been published. They officially, grant you your DBA. You get an official certificate, and that allows you then to go to your bank and open up a bank account that you would put, checks would be made payable to Mistra Music in Bobby's case, or if you've done it in your band name, you have checks payable to your band name. Now, everything these days also needs to have a tax ID. Now, the typical DBA is going to be done under your Social Security number, but maybe once you get to a point and take the advice of your, accountant or tax advisor, you might then want to move it to the next level. Maybe you set up a partnership and get its own separate tax ID, or ultimately into, like, say, an LLC or a corporation. But that, sort of moves on from the basic sort of level where we're at. Once you take all these things, you now have to start to move into setting up all those areas on the administrative level that you would need to do everything that you need to do. We talked about all the various types of income in a previous segment, but like on the mechanical front, if you are releasing your own material, you're technically issuing a mechanical license to yourself, but maybe you've recorded a cover. You've got to make sure that you take care of securing that cover through the Harry Fox agency, like we've talked about in the past. On the sync side of things, are you equipped to do this on your own? Do you go out and enlist a sync agent, whether it be non-exclusive or exclusive, like we talked about in the last segment? There are other resources where you, again, try to do these sorts of things yourself and reach out to supervisors yourself. We're going to talk about that in a later segment. On the print side of things, are your fans going to want sheet music? Do you know how to do that? If you don't, there are computer programs that you can do it. There are services and retail establishments on the web, like Music Notes, that will do the notation for you so that you can sell it for your fans. And then perhaps, things are growing for you. You're starting to earn money in foreign territories. Well, then you need to look into sub-publishers. Do you do that yourself? Do you do it, enlist someone else's help in an admin deal, or et cetera? Right. You've got to line up all of your ducks in a row so that you can capture all of the pennies that are going to be earned.
Right, exactly. Now, if you guys are going, man, my head is spinning, I just want to be an artist, right? Then the good news is that there are what I call DIY-friendly administrators. And one particular company that I'm not really afraid to talk about, simply because I went to school with the original owner, and I know these guys and work with them quite a lot, and it's a reputable company that has been around for many, many years. Disc Makers, which now owns CD Baby, they have a service called CD Baby Pro, and from anywhere from 9% to 30%, they will do all of the admin stuff for you, which includes like collecting your iTunes download money, your Spotify streaming money. They will actually try to pitch sync for you as well. They will try to collect in foreign territories,
Sure.
and they will even try to collect ad money from YouTube as well.
Absolutely.
So there are services that can do that for you. So I'm sure you guys are happy to hear about that as well.
Absolutely.
And so now let's do the question of the day. All right. So here's a good one for you guys. What are the differences between the various business entities that you can enter into? Right? A classic C Corp, an S Corp, an LLC, with regards to costs, liability, taxes, and the paperwork that's involved. Okay, you guys, we're trying to break down the basics for you so this stuff sticks. We've got a lot more to talk about. We're really excited about some of the courses coming up. And
Absolutely. We'll be right back.
let's do this.